Hello, everybody. Welcome to Microbrew, Milwaukee Brewers chatter from the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. Happy Mother's Day to your moms, maybe your wives, any moms in your life.
Maybe you.
Maybe me? Why me? Because I'm wearing
No,
a
not
nicer
you,
shirt.
JR.
Oh, maybe you, the listener.
You.
Maybe you. That's right. That's right. It is a holiday edition, I guess, of the Microbrew podcast. Milwaukee Brewers. They went 4-3 this week in their sort of tour of Missouri. That was 3 games out in Kansas City and then 4 games not in Missouri, but in Milwaukee at home against the Cardinals. Hit the ball very well, had a really good weekend up until Sunday, which was a bummer, but we can hit on that as well. 4-3, not too shabby, not bad. Probably could have been a little better, but they got some breaks to keep it from getting worse. So a solid week all around. Curt, we have a lot to discuss. There's actually quite a bit that happened this week, but we'll start with what happened on Friday night, and that was the debut, the long gestating, awaited debut of starting pitcher Robert Gasser. He's one of our personal favorites. We've been advocating for him to have some time to shine for quite some time, and he got it. He threw 6 shutout innings against the Cardinals, allows just 2 hits. One of the best starting pitching performances in a debut in Brewers history, quite honestly. You start to invoke names like Chris Saenz and Steve Woodard. Brandon Woodruff had a very good debut. It was about as good as it gets. The left-hander, still very young, of course, part of that Josh Hader trade in 2022. And I think, Curt, it sure, I mean, obviously he's going to get another start. It feels to me like he is a guy they didn't bring up here just for a spot start or 2, even though he's kind of a spot starter with Freddie Peralta's suspension lingering that extra day. So does it feel to you like that's how you feel about it, that Robert Gasser is a starting pitcher for the Brewers going forward until further notice, or was this just a trial balloon?
Well, they optioned Tobias Myers before Robert Gasser made the start.
They sure did.
Friday. So I think that kind of answers it. He still, though, is going to have to earn his spot in the rotation, but it's not like it's not like it's up for grabs after each and every start he's going to make, because as we've talked about, JR, they don't got no arms. Then they don't have guys that are coming back. They're all on the 60-day or just had Tommy John surgery. So if you look at the depth chart of the organization, Robert Gasser's certainly in the top 5 right now, and it's probably even higher than that. And the guys that, could push him out are not coming back for a hot while. And they've even talked about the idea of, flirting with Jacob Junis as a reliever, which is way down the road. But I kind of see those things as fairly parallel as well. If Robert Gasser pitches really well, he's not getting bumped for Jacob Junis. That's a long time down the road, though. And the Brewers got to take this thing day by day, week by week at this point, while they're all hurt. And he's going to make another start, probably going to make another one after that.
I feel like they could flirt with relieving with just about everybody on this pitching staff, quite honestly. Bryce Wilson pitching on Sunday, he had a pretty rough outing, actually. He's done as well as can be expected. And you have guys, I think, who Tobias Myers, another one who I think did okay. I mean, it made sense when they sent him back down to AAA. He just wasn't giving them length. That's just not something you get from really anybody in this rotation, but Robert Gasser could maybe do that. Robert Gasser is one of the few pitchers, him and Freddie Peralta might be the only pitchers I look at in this rotation and say, yes, starter all year long. Colin Ray probably at this point is as well, but I didn't feel that way coming into the year. I still don't feel that way about Joe Ross or Bryce Wilson, but Robert Gasser's a starting pitcher. So I don't think we can expect anything really resembling what he did to the Cardinals. The Cardinals offense, boy. It's not been good for them. So
hey, they scored 4 runs on Sunday.
They sure did. Paul Goldschmidt snapped out of his 0 for 32 or whatever it was to, of course, burn the Milwaukee Brewers. Of course, the Milwaukee Brewers fixed Paul Goldschmidt.
In Milwaukee.
Of course, it's going to happen.
This iteration of Paul Goldschmidt can do that.
Yes, they fixed Paul Goldschmidt. Congratulations. Thank you. St. Louis can send a gift basket in the mail, but Robert Gasser can he's the type of guy who could do that sort of thing. I don't know, was it an outstanding start? I mean, did he, because it's not like I expected him to come up and, have shut down performances. I thought he would be a solid, 6 innings, 2 runs, 3 runs kind of guy, which of course is very good. So what was it about Robert Gasser on that day that made him so dominant?
What was it about Robert Gasser that made him dominant? Honestly, I think you're onto something with it wasn't the most dominant start in terms of like stuff. The command was pretty good. He didn't walk anyone, but it still didn't, leave you absolutely floored. It stayed out of the middle of the plate. The slider, that was the big takeaway, is you figured it was going to be a good pitch. I think I labeled it as a plus pitch a couple of years ago. And it certainly is that. I mean, lefties have no chance against the slider. Or I guess it's a sweeper, technically, excuse me. But it was also interesting that he didn't throw a single cutter. The cutter's probably his second best pitch. And he didn't throw a single one. I have not followed up with him on why that is yet. I'm sure I'll do so in the coming days. I got a couple days off here to start the week. Got to be a dad.
Yeah.
A little bit. But, once I'm done being a dad, once I've thrown that out the window on Wednesday and I go back to work, I'll probably follow up unless he's pitching Wednesday. Ooh, he might be pitching Wednesday. So maybe we'll do it after the game. Anyway, we'll get to the bottom of it. He didn't throw a single cutter. I wonder if it had to do with William Contreras being behind the plate. Gasser said he didn't shake off one time, which, you know what? If you're in that position and you have not given up jack squat on the mound, don't shake off.
No, absolutely. You got to go.
Not shake off.
Yeah.
That's where we are with William Contreras. Don't shake him off.
I do agree with that. So I want to talk about the offense as well. There's several points I want to hit on the offensive front, but I also will mention I had a chance to sit down with Joey Ortiz, who has been hitting the ball quite well. Some might say, Curt, that he should be in the lineup every day, regardless of pitcher. I don't know if you would say that or if I would say that, but I would say that. Are we
legislating this right now? Are we legislating this in this moment?
Well, I do want to, but I want to because of the first thing I want to talk about. And that is also Jackson Chourio, who has not been in the lineup. Different reasons here, though. Jackson Chourio has struggled. Like, there's no doubt about it. Defensively, I would say solid, but, he's had his moments. But the fact that I think 5 games in a row went by coming into Sunday before he started Sunday where he wasn't in the starting lineup. And that's a little head scratching to me because either your 20-year-old super phenom is getting better at the big league level every day and soaking up that stuff, soaking up the failures so that he can adjust, or he's in AAA continuing to get at bats, and I don't think they want to send him down or anything. So I didn't understand why there was such a prolonged. There are other guys who are struggling pretty bad too. Maybe not that bad, but close to that bad, like, Sal Frelick. And Sal Frelick defensively has really struggled too. So I'm surprised that I don't know if he made making an example of him sounds too strong, but I thought that was interesting. I think Pat Murphy seemingly really, really prefers the strict lefty righty platoon situation. I mean, it isn't like that for every game, but Joey Ortiz hasn't been getting it, starting every day because Oliver Dunn, who has struggled mightily, has been getting opportunities against right-handed pitchers. Very good defensive third baseman, but seemingly not a guy who's been able to really keep it together at the big league level, but he's been here all year. So those are separate issues. Those are two different lineup decisions. But they've been puzzling to me equally. And I mean, if it were me, I might just write their names in every day and see what happens until Jackson Chourio completely craters and has to go down to AAA. But what do I know? I'm not privy to all the information that they are. So give me your thoughts on this situation, on the landscape as it relates to this lineup.
Yeah, what do you know? What do you know?
I don't know who's hurt. I don't know who's in the good graces of the manager. I don't know if they're
any of us know. We don't. None of us know a thing.
I also don't know if they favor just defense to such a high degree, and they have in the past, where Oliver Dunn it makes more sense than Joey Ortiz, even though I think you and I both think Joey Ortiz is a very good, solid defensive third baseman. Oliver Dunn is also very good, so maybe that's it too. I don't know.
I would say Joey Ortiz is the better defender, but Oliver defense is defense. That's what his name is. Oliver Dunn's defense has been better. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think so.
I think that should make some sense. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think actually how the Joey Ortiz playing time was split up this weekend was pretty fair, all things considered. He got 3 of 4 starts, all against right-handed pitching. That's about tracks to me, until he proves he can't do it, just because of how well he's proved it of late. I would just keep rolling him out there. 3 out of 4, 2 out of 3 games against right-handed pitching. Oliver Dunn's bat speed, by the way. The StatCast new bat tracking
what's it saying?
Metrics and stuff dropped, and Oliver Dunn leads the team. He's 96th percentile in baseball.
Really?
Explains how he hits the ball hard, because he does hit the ball hard.
Yes, when he makes contact.
He also strikes out. 40% of the time.
Yes, that is
So
Keston
here we are.
Hira. That's
Yeah.
Keston Hira territory. He leads the team in K percentage.
In terms of a day-by-day, how they look right now approach, Chourio for sure is not one of the 3 best outfielders.
I think that's fair.
With Sal Frelick and Blake Perkins struggling mightily.
I think that's fair.
Jake Bauers might be in the list right now, actually. I think he probably is.
Another left-hander that he loves, Jake Bauers. But I understand.
I'm looking beyond, JR. I am seeing into August, and I am seeing into 2027 with Jackson Chourio and all this stuff that he's going to log in his brain and the struggles he's going to go through. In theory, that's all important to help him be better down the road and unlock that vast potential that he has. It was just a bit peculiar that he sat for so long. But on the other hand, the Brewers are looking to win now, which Pat Murphy says it like every game he goes into it. Like they're trying to win this game. That's all that's important is what's happening now. And Jackson Chourio is probably not one of the 9 best to throw out there every single day. So I feel like he's also kind of been harmed by them literally never playing left-handed starters. Him and Gary Sanchez, both like guys that probably would hit left-handed pitching pretty decently, and they just never get a chance to do it. Yeah. I haven't looked at the upcoming series against the Pirates. Do they have any lefties? Because Bailey Falter pitched on Sunday. So,
man, I don't look that far ahead.
Martin Perez. Name the Pirates rotation. Do it right now.
Well, Paul Skeens is in the Pirates rotation, right? Martin Perez, Jared Jones, who's sensational. Bailey Falter, you just said his name. I don't. Is Chase Anderson still in Major League Baseball somewhere? I think he might be.
He's with Boston.
Oh, good for him, Chase Anderson. Love that guy. Glad he's still.
Was Chase Anderson ever a Pirate? I feel like he would be a Pirate.
I think he probably had to be a Pirate. Let's not look it up though, and just assume it's true.
Eric Lauer. No, he's not with the big league.
He's not with no. I don't know who the 5th starter is, and I'm sorry. Did I say Martin Perez? I might have. I might not have.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know who it is right now.
Yeah,
off the top of my head. So
they have 2 really, really good starters in the future in Jones and Skeens, so they're okay.
Tom Gorzolani.
Oh, Paul Maholm, absolutely. Zach Duke, let's go. What was I going to say about that? Oh, yeah, okay. So
yeah, I'm sorry, I got you sidetracked.
No,
Rowdy's coming.
Rowdy is going to be an American Family.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know what you were saying, but Rowdy's coming.
You said you're not going to be working the first 2 games. You have to get to those games. Rowdy misses you, Curt.
I have seen Rowdy already. I was in Pittsburgh.
That's true. That's true.
We connected.
I should get Rowdy on the pod. I should just go talk to him, right? Monday?
You could try. I would love for you to try. He's also OPSing like almost under 500 right now, and I don't know if this is the time that he would do it. And be his normal self.
Speaking of OPSing under 500, Curt, you said that throwing Jackson Chourio out there he would not be one of the 3 best outfielders. I agree. But the difference between him and the guys, just ahead of him are just not that significant. Blake Perkins.
You're right.
You know I love Blake Perkins. You know I do. But over the last 3 weeks, that's a guy who's OPSing 488 or something. Much worse.
I didn't get around to the rest of my point because I got sidetracked by Rowdy Tellez.
Tell me.
As people do. Yeah, no, it's like they're sitting in for 5 straight days when the starting center fielder and right fielder are in probably worse slumps right now. So that part of it was a little peculiar.
Yeah, it's been really bad for Blake Perkins. I mean, you know, Curt, you know that I love Blake Perkins, and the defense is very good. And that's going to bring me. Ball. I do. It actually brings me to another point, which is about the defense. The defense of Blake Perkins is sensational. He had one really rough day last week, but for the most part, beyond reproach. Are we sure though that this defense is great? Because the way it's built, we'll say it again, the starting pitchers are not elite. They don't have to be because the defense, turns all these outs, all these ground balls, all these fly balls into outs. Outfield defense can been up and down again this year a little bit. And the infield defense, I think, is pretty good. I don't know though if metrics back that up. I am a little confused by some of the stuff I'm seeing. So tell me what you think. Is this a really elite defense or not?
I think it's been a pretty average defense that should be better. Up and down the board, you're looking at them having really good defenders, minus like Rhys Hoskins. But there's not a lot of guys that have played up to their capability on defense. It's like Bryce Terang kind of Blake Perkins. Christian Yelich.
Yes.
Let's acknowledge Christian Yelich.
We're going to talk about him. He's next.
Here. Oliver Dunn. And then the rest of it's like, honey, what are you doing? William Contreras has not been as good at framing pitches as he was last year when he turned into a savant. Rhys Hoskins has been bad at first base. I think the metrics back that up. Willy Adames has had some great moments, some great plays. For the most part, been pretty good, but also some question marks in there. Sal Frelick's been bad. Jackson Chourio, he's been better than I expected, honestly. But you look at the whole picture across the board and you go, okay, they're like average. They need to be better than average. They have a bunch of guys who are like considered a well above average defenders. So yeah, I don't completely disagree with your premise. I thought the defense this weekend was pretty good. Unless I'm missing something, I felt like they played pretty good defense. Like the play Terang made on Friday for Gasser.
Double play.
Was remarkable. He basically threw the ball before he landed. So I think you're onto something, though.
Yeah, I loved that play and thought that was in the second inning. That was a pretty important play, I think. If you were looking to build up some confidence for Gasser, that became obviously his second shutdown inning out of 6. That was really a remarkable moment. That's the type of thing you need from this defense. And I don't know if we've seen it. And I guess my point with that is if it's just average, if it's just okay, and again, who knows? Every metric is different, and some of them we trust, some we don't. But if they're just okay, then they could stand to go for more offense instead of defense, because it doesn't do you any good to have, for example, Oliver Dunn at third base if he is struggling to even make contact with the ball, get slightly worse with Joey Ortiz. Now we talked about Ortiz is playing enough, but lean into the offense then and take slight downgrades in defense. It's not like you're an elite defense anyway.
Yeah, no, to jump in here, I'm really glad you brought that up. Do you remember a fellow by the name of Keston Hiura?
I think by the rules of the microbrew drinking game, we definitely just had to take a shot.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to look up his stats right here. So you pontificate about something else. I'll be back.
Wait, you're going to leave me here while you go look up Keston Hiura's stats? I feel like going to be akin to what you...
I'm back.
Okay, because I want to point out something else quick. You messaged me this morning to let me know what Matt Chapman's numbers were.
I did.
Yes, versus the Brewers. The Brewers' third baseman have outperformed Matt Chapman. That's interesting to me because I certainly stood as on the highest perch I could find, screaming to the heavens that the Brewers should sign Matt Chapman. That would have been bad at this point in the season because obviously, or like if you're going with young guys and they're outperforming it, you've won on both fronts. So I made a mistake. Maybe it's early.
Maybe it's also May 12th, and it's not your money. So
it's not my money.
That. Anyway,
but,
for those, whether you hate Keston Hiura or love Keston Hiura or ambivalent or just
talk about him all the time. Yep.
If you're sick of it, then skip ahead like 30 seconds. We'll be done.
Like 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
61 with a 738 OPS in AAA with the Tigers. He's got 4 dingers in 36 games. 41 strikeouts in those games, so that's still a pretty high clip, but not like as high as we've ever seen it go. But yeah, it's still a concern.
More than once a game.
All I know is he has 3 weeks to get his butt up to Detroit because we got a revenge series cooking, my brother.
Is he going to play in the big leagues again? Were we that wrong about where we thought Keston Hiura was going?
Look, I got things to apologize for, but it ain't that.
Curt, we have this conversation every once in a while looking at the Brewers, their ability to draft and develop hitters in the past, at this point, like 2 decades? It's not there. And, it kind of ties into Tyler Black.
Decade and a half.
Yeah. So Ryan Braun joined the party in 2007? That was his rookie year.
Yeah,
2007. So since that,
you got to cut it off with Lucroy. You got to cut it off with Lucroy.
I think that's fair.
If we're getting arbitrary with this, which we have every right to do,
we can do it.
You got to cut it off with Lucroy.
I think that's fair. Lucroy was sensational, and really thrived in this system, particularly. Like his best years are with the Brewers, so it worked out great. After that, they have not developed hitters. If you have a good hitter at the big league level, it's someone that the Brewers acquired, mostly at the big league levels. In rare cases, maybe at the upper minor league level, but there aren't really many examples of that. And so I mentioned that because they sent Tyler Black back down this week, which I think makes sense because they got to get him a defensive position. They got to get him reps defensively. He was slumping a little bit too. I think he'll be back pretty quickly and at some point this season. But like, you look at Bryce Terang, who's improved this year, but Sal Frelick is struggling. Joey Weimer, we know, is hurt. Garrett Mitchell, like, who's going to break this curse? Keston Hiura is the face of the curse, but who's going to break it? Like, where they finally bring up a bona fide hitter.
That's weird. You would say a guy with a career OPS plus over 100 is the face of they can't develop offense curse.
Well,
you know what? You might have a point. I will come down from my Keston perch and say, you know what, JR, for once you do have a point. Is it going to be Bryce Terang? I don't think it's going to be Bryce Terang. Although this version of Bryce Terang is like all-star level. So
this is really good Bryce Terang. It might be. That might break the curse. I guess that's not exactly what I'm picturing. I'm not picturing somebody who will be a single hitter and speed and defense. But
you want it to be Brock Wilken, don't you?
Curt, I love watching Brock Wilken play baseball. I am very much in the Brock Wilken camp. That's the one. That's the one for me. But I think it'll be Tyler Black before that. I just don't. I don't know. He's got to be able to play defense. So we'll see.
hitting at this level is really hard. Also, there's a guy named Chourio. Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah, I don't know why I said all of this without mentioning Jackson Chourio, because of course he is supposed to be the guy who breaks this.
You were just trying to hate on Keston. That's what this was.
I love Keston. You and I are in agreement on Keston Hiura. We love him.
That's true.
We think he should have gotten a shot last year. It's crazy to me that he did not. Of all,
do you ever think about the fact that the Brewers won the division without Keston Hiura doing anything, and the fact that they could have maybe won 30 or 93 games with him? Wow.
And then they would have lost the
same. They could have even won the division with Keston Hiura.
It could have been a boat.
Hey, they could have been swept in 2 games with him. Oh, wait, that happened anyway.
I will point out that Joe Dumars was criticized when he drafted Darko Milicic, and they immediately won an NBA title. So Joe Dumars was right. He got the right guy. They won the title. Results dictated it all. So that's my final answer.
How did the Pistons have the 2nd pick?
Yeah, number 2.
And then in the championship like the next year.
It's amazing.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Detroit Pistons are magic. Joe Dumars, he knew what he was doing.
They like all hurt one year? How does one do that?
I feel like that might have been some sort of like trade that worked out for them. I don't know. The NBA is elusive to me, Curt. I don't know. I haven't dug that deep.
There's an avenue of NBA tanking that has not yet been explored.
Okay.
It's get a really good core. Like, imagine if the Bucks had gotten Dame this year. They had Chris, they had Giannis, and they said, I don't even know if they have a 1st-round pick. But imagine they also have a 1st-round pick this year's upcoming draft. Do they?
Yes.
Oh, even better. Okay, so this theory works great. They all get in the room and they say, you know what? We're going to tank it. We're going to win 8 games this year. And then we're going to get, maybe this year's not a great example because the draft class stinks, but they do this last year.
Yeah.
And they end up with Wemby.
So I said that
players in on the tank and have them not play.
I love where your head's at. I left out one detail. They do have a 1st-round pick, but it is subject to a pick swap.
That doesn't change my theory though.
Sure, it does, because if you tank and you get the number 4 pick, that pick goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder or whoever, and the Bucks still pick.
My point. The method remains the same no matter which team you are. In this situation, a team that knows it doesn't have the rights to its pick ain't going to do it. I'm saying you got to know you're going to suck, or know you have the pick and then decide to suck.
Yes, I definitely think you should become a GM and convince fan bases that they need to suffer with star players so that they might be able to get one more generation.
Well, they're suffering with star players now. So who's actually right?
Well, I guess that's possibly true. I don't know. It depends on what you look at as suffering.
Was this year a success for the Milwaukee Bucks? No. They won 2 playoff games. Giannis got hurt anyway. So let's all just sit out the year. Let's sit out the year. And get a pick in the draft. Get the 2nd pick.
Yeah. GM Curt. This was definitely some sort of draft shenanigans Eastern Conference Finals the year before, Eastern Conference semifinals the year before, then went to the Eastern Conference Finals. They draft Darko, they win the finals. Pretty simple stuff. Pretty simple straight line, if you ask me. Why are we talking about Darko? I forgot. I did this somehow. I did this.
Keston.
Tyler Black got sent down.
That had nothing to do with Darko Milicic.
Didn't it? I thought it was about defense.
Process. Results. Did you see the guy catch 2 homers in the series in Kansas City?
We're going to talk about that in Remember When, by the way. But yes, I did.
Oh, okay. I thought you were definitely going to do Steve Woodard in Remember When.
No. I probably should, honestly, after the Gasser performance. But
No,
I
think
already
we've
had
done
my
that
stuff
one.
prepared.
We've probably done that one.
I think we did too. I've done a lot on like rookie, and actually I updated my list at jsonline.com. If you're interested in great Brewers rookie performances, there's some random names on that list. There are like some anticipated ones, like Robin Yount, Ryan Braun, Prince Fielder, and then there's like Kevin Barker, who had a really good game. So there's all kinds of stuff. Chris Sainz, of course, the legend Chris Sainz, one-time Chris Sainz is on the list, but let's forget everything we were just talking about. Christian Yelich is back. Discuss.
Christian Yelich is back, and really good.
Really good.
Like it was kind of rough on what day was that, Wednesday. Like late in the game, they switched to a lefty, and it was like, oh, you have no chance. Like he looked uncomfortable against that fellow.
Yeah.
But now he's hitting everything hard.
I know.
It's like he missed 3.5 weeks with a back injury and came back and said, you know what? I'm me. I'm still him.
Yeah, his first game, that did catch me by surprise when they activated him. I know that he was like doing hitting and stuff, but still Wednesday came and I was surprised to see that notification. Oh, Christian Yelich has been activated. Tyler Black sent down, actually. It's part of the same transaction. And then goes 0 for 5. Actually, it came up in some tight spots. The Brewers lost a close game there against the Royals, that day game. And Christian Yelich going 0 for 5 hurt, but he continued to mash again against the Cardinals. He looks tremendous. And I think if you were worried, as I would have been coming off a back injury, whether or not he's, still kind of capable of putting up big numbers, I think we have our answer. And it's pretty great having Contreras and Yelich right there in the top of the order.
He did a little bit of everything that made you feel good about the back. He had a diving catch, sliding catch on Sunday in the field. He ran for a triple. He stole, or I don't know if he actually stole a couple bases, but he tried stealing some bases. I think he stole a base. It was just about everything you would want to see, and he hit the ball 110 miles an hour like multiple times. So pretty good.
They crushed Sonny Gray on Thursday. Sonny Gray, who's having a very good year and always been good against the Brewers. I mean, they were just like 95 to 100 miles an hour on the regular coming off the bat against that guy. So not sure what was going on there. That was an unusually great performance against a very tough pitcher. And then they did that again the following night. It was nice. Yeah,
and scoring 7 to 11 runs a game. Turns out it's pretty good.
It works out. It's good math.
This concludes my analysis on the Microbrew podcast. Thanks for having me.
It's what you're here for. But now that we've hit all the big topics, I think we can dig into some of the more granular details from the week. It's 3 up, 3 down. Curt, we're starting on Tuesday night. This was a really great game for the Milwaukee Brewers. We haven't really even mentioned, I think, the big home runs. Rhys Hoskins hitting that 3-run homer on Saturday night was a pretty electric moment at American Family Field. And Willy Adames, down to the Brewers' last out for the first time since 2019, hits a home run with a 3-run homer in Kansas City. Brewers, again, would have lost if they'd gotten Willy out. Instead, he gives the Brewers the lead. Trevor McGill catches his home run ball in the bullpen casually, like as he's warming up, just reaches up, grabs it, underhands it somewhere, and then resumes his warm-up. Extremely cool. Like just king behavior right there. And then he comes in and pitches this inning, Curt. Now, there were a couple balls that were hit hard, but that is one of the more electric relief innings I have seen. That's Devin Williams, Josh Hader level, pinpoint accuracy, devastating breaking stuff, just incredible work. Slices up the Royals 1-2-3 in the 9th, and the Brewers win. Really, really thrilling game. Really funny moment to have him just sort of like catch the ball like it was no big deal. No reaction whatsoever. And then come in and absolutely eviscerate the Royals. Nice win for the Brewers.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't get to that. Oh, well, maybe I can believe we didn't get to that earlier because, we get into the granular details now. We try to lay out the storylines of the team, tell you about the heartbeat of these fellows for the first 30 minutes. And then the granular details. You took the Hoskins one for me. I was going to take that next. Does that count as you?
No, go ahead. That's you. That's fair. That was a great moment.
Okay, well, we
Let's
can
talk
set
more
the stage. We can set the stage a little bit. The Brewers had so many chances before that in the game.
Brutal.
And a lot of kind of pitiful at-bats and results. They had 2 runs, both scored on bases loaded, hit by pitch, which is one of the ways to score a run, no doubt. But it's also maybe the most embarrassing way to score a run for both sides.
Yeah.
Like if you're scoring all your runs on bases loaded, hit by pitches, seek help. And by that, I mean like seek batting cage help. Rhys Hoskins did that. And the thing that stood out to me about that pitch, JR, was I thought they were not going to throw him a strike. I thought there was no chance. Even with Yelich on deck, I didn't think to look if the Cardinals had a lefty up in the bullpen. They had already used one, Jojo Romero. So Yelich could have been the pinch hitter next if they had chosen to bring him in, which they probably would have against a righty. But still, I didn't think he was going to get a pitch to hit. And you know what? He didn't get a pitch to hit, JR. That slider that he hit out was not considered a hitter's feast. And yet, Rhys Hoskins is good. It feels like we had been waiting for some moments from him, and we finally got them this week. He had a couple, maybe 1, maybe 2 homers in Kansas City, and then 2 in those series against the Cardinals, a couple more big hits. So, Rhys Hoskins coming around.
Against the Cardinals, we saw something that I never thought I'd see, and that was a Thursday game. Nolan Arenado made a bad defensive play. He tried to tag out William Contreras running from second to third. He missed, didn't end up getting. I think that would have been a double play, and instead he misses the tag, allows the inning to continue, and the Brewers score 3 runs. And I think it's just sort of emblematic of where the Cardinals are right now, which is we've talked about this before, but Nolan Arenado is slumping. Paul Goldschmidt was 0 for 32. Now the Brewers maybe fixed him. We'll wait and see. But took some of the worst swings I have ever seen Paul Goldschmidt take ever. Now he hits the Brewers better than a lot of teams, so maybe it's a little bit more elevated in our minds than it would be normally. But those 2 guys are just off the table. They're just not anywhere close to what they could be. They're getting older. Their pitching is not there. The Cardinals, Curt, feel like, and it's only been, obviously the Brewers have only seen them for 7 games. That's still not a very large amount, even though the Brewers have won 6 of them. Franchise record 8 straight wins after Saturday night against the Cardinals in their head-to-head matchups. Man, they look really bad. They just look atrocious. They look like they're not even going to, they're going to be the 5th place team in this division. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if I believe it.
Hello.
The Pirates are going to work on that too. But this is... Yeah.
Rowdy's coming to town.
We love Rowdy. Welcome back, Rowdy Tellez. It's the Brewers, Cubs, and just like not really anyone else right now. That's amazing to me. That's amazing.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I was sitting there saying like, oh, everyone said this division stinks. They got some winning ball clubs. The Cubs and the Brewers are hot. The Reds are a wild card team. No, the division stinks.
Yeah.
These fellas are bad in red from Missouri.
Yeah, it's a tough scene.
They're kind of stinky. They really are.
They got some soul searching. It's is the manager going to be here forever? Is the GM going to be here forever? What do they do with their star players? Nolan Arenado is still under contract for the rest of our natural lives. The pitching the pipeline isn't there right now. Jordan Walker didn't pan out or seemingly isn't panning out. Obviously, there's still time there. There's still time for everything. It's just it doesn't look good. All right, what do you got?
Doesn't look good. How about Jared Koenig getting 3 big spots for his outings this week? Did you see that coming? Because I sure didn't.
Sure didn't. Multiple inning spots. Now, I would say that Monday when we saw Jared Koenig I would say there were 2 games this week that the Brewers probably should feel pretty bad about that they lost. One of them is Sunday, but Sunday probably could have been much worse, to be honest.
I think I would push back on Sunday.
Yeah.
Because they lost 4-3 and they blew a 3-run lead. But
it could have been worse, actually.
In the vacuum of the game, they kind of got their butts kicked. The Cardinals just left a ton of runners on because they're not very good.
Yeah, you're right. I'm going to pull back myself and say it's really just that Monday game. Some really not questionable, just curious decisions out of the bullpen. Jared Koenig was put into a very tough spot and was tasked with he faced 4 batters. 3 of them were lefty, and all 3 lefties reached. One of them hit a home run. So it wasn't a good outing for him, but he bounced back in a big, big way. He's a super interesting guy. We got to get Jared Koenig on the pod, but yeah, he's really developed into something, man.
Yeah. the part of the show where Hobie Milner only pitches when they're losing is kind of bizarre to me because he had off to a bit of a rough start. But you look at the numbers on the whole right now, and they're really good. He's not walking guys. He's still striking guys out at a decent clip. His ERA is under 2. That part of the show has left me getting up going to get some more nachos. I might want to see a different show on when I resume the television screen.
But Jared Koenig, coming into, if you have guys who are only going to pitch 4 to 5 innings as starters, and that's what they have right now, you need somebody who's kind of thought of as a middle reliever to come in and shove or get guys out that they're already on base, and he has done that and then worked another inning on top of it. I mean, there was a point where I thought he was going to end up going down to the minors when they called up Gasser. I don't remember exactly, but or maybe it was Mitch White when they sort of acquired this reliever Mitch White this week.
Is Kevin Herget still here?
No, Kevin Herget went down for Mitch White.
I lost track on some of the show.
yeah, for sure. But Koenig is kind of looking valuable. I mean, he's really
he's been solid, no doubt. He's been solid. I'm just confused as to why Hobie Milner's been banished to the mop-up realm.
Yes, me as well. I don't get it. Let me close this down with we're going to talk about my guy, Brock Wilken. After suffering a hit by pitch to the face, got some facial fractures in the minor leagues. This is their third baseman, number 1 pick last year in last year's draft. He has been mashing in the minors, but took a pitch off the face. So he missed some time. Anytime a minor leaguer gets hurt, you never really know. You know, sometimes the club will tell you, like a Jefferson Caro situation, he's not coming back this year. His shoulder's really dinged up. Sometimes it's like, he twisted a knee or something, and then he disappears for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. You never know. But Brock Wilken showed up one day, homered in his first game back. He then homered the next day. It was a grand slam. He's back to mashing baseballs. Very excited. I am so ready, Curt, for a real third base prospect who just dingers away and can do he can do other things too, but like, I am so ready for Brock Wilken to be in the big leagues mashing baseballs. So very happy to see him back. Yeah,
I'm happy for you because there's no way that this backfires. There's no way Brewers doesn't turn out.
Oh, the curse is real. All right, what do you got? Last one for 3 Up, 3 Down.
I was going to get on to the minor leagues too. I was just going to talk about Craig Yoho. I don't know. Am I missing anything in the major leagues that was big?
I got some small stuff. Yeah, I got some small stuff. But yeah, Craig Yoho
diving catch was nice.
Yeah, that was on Sunday. That saved a bunch of runs. There was the home run that hit off, almost home run by Ciani that hit off the yellow cushion. I feel like that happens every once in a while at American Family Field.
The Brewers on the road this year too. I don't know if it's on the road, but it happened somewhere where they almost hit a home run, but didn't.
Yeah.
I could talk about William Contreras' all-around goodness as well.
Sure.
But Craig Yoho's supremacy is what's important here. 29 strikeouts to 2 walks in 15 minor league innings. Need I say more? Get this guy to Milwaukee. Probably not actually this instant because he's only at high A.
I was going to say that.
There. But when your stuff plays, man, your stuff plays. And it's not like they need to develop him as a starter. Like, that just works when you're a reliever. Hey, we just saw someone from the 2023 draft on the mound debut this week.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Of course it is. But tell me, Curt, why I, as a Brewers fan, should be investing in a guy who's pitching for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers right now, because that feels like it's miles and miles from the big leagues.
No, it's only 100 miles.
That's true.
95 miles.
I was going to say, I think it's less than 100. Yeah.
A nice, easy drive up to Grand Chute. There's a mall right there.
Yeah, 41's going to get under construction though. We've got to keep a pin on that.
I will say, not a lot of great late night coffee options. This coming from someone's the two of us who have spent some late nights in Appleton covering state baseball doings.
Oh, yes. Yeah, you more than me probably, but I don't know. I always find someplace.
You weren't a state baseball guy? What are you doing on the?
No, I was state baseball, but often I would go to summer state baseball at Buchholz Park in Stevens Point. Different animal, very different animal.
Oh, that's true. You're old.
So
you were doing summer baseball.
What were we talking about again? Was it Craig Yoho?
Craig Yoho,
mm-hmm.
Of course.
He's in single A's. Do you think there's a chance he could be in the big leagues though this year?
A minute chance.
Sad.
I would say very, very small.
But
However, it's non-zero.
yeah,
And that is the point here to show how good he's been, because he's at high A, and once you get promoted to double A, which probably is going to happen pretty soon with how good he's pitching, you're not that far away as a reliever.
Right. All right, well, a couple things we could have talked about. Gary Sanchez playing first base on Wednesday, made a diving stop, actually. That was pretty impressive for Sanchez. He also hit a tank home run on Monday. Again, there was that Brewers fan in Kansas City who caught Sanchez's homer and then Bobby Witt's home run from the Royals on Wednesday. Very different reactions to those home runs from the Brewers fan. Blake Perkins, who I think is amazing on defense, had one of the worst game he could have had. He got stuck in the turf and fell down to allow a fly ball to drop. He allowed a runner to go to third with no throw. I think he didn't think he was going to try to go to third. Dropped the ball that he dove for. Honestly, like all the bad plays Blake Perkins' season could have basically just happened in one game. That will not be the case. Jacob Mizorowski, we haven't talked about him in a while. I think he's a reliever this year and forever. But we can talk about that.
Out of here. No.
I don't want it. I don't want to be right on that front.
You don't just get to casually drop that at the end of, we could throw this into the 3 up, 3 down. No, that's not how this works.
You're right. Let's
defend your take.
I don't
next week.
Oh,
I want to set this up.
The research. I will have it for you. I'll have a 12-page research paper. We can talk more about Miz next week for sure. Also, Matt Carpenter took a swing today on Sunday and his bat broke before he made contact with the ball.
I thought you were gonna leave it at Matt Carpenter took a swing.
Every time he swings against the Brewers, something weird or bad happens.
He doesn't swing much.
No, he does not. He will take
when
it.
He does.
Also, Saturday, Sunday, the pinstripes are back. Fanatics coming through. The pinstripe uniforms are in the house.
Thank you, Nike/Fanatics. I think probably more Nike for getting the Brewers their second home uniform on May 11th. Who knows? Great going, guys.
Maybe we'll even see a City Connect jersey this year. Who knows?
Okay, here we go. Now let's not get too far ahead.
Possibilities are limitless. All right, let's go back in time as we do every week on Microbrew. It is Remembrew when. I didn't Google the name of this guy, and I should have, because everybody wrote about him. The fan who caught that ball in Kauffman Stadium, the two home run balls. Did you see his name by chance? I want to say it. I don't know.
The fan who caught 2 home run balls.
Yeah. The guy the Brewer fan.
That's his name.
That's all you're going with. Okay, thanks.
That's all I know.
I
think he follows me on Twitter. He like I did see his name getting dropped just about everywhere, and I think he follows me. So if you're a listener of the pod, shout out to you. You have the name. I just don't know it. I'm sorry.
Just disastrous podcasting by me to not be ready with this. And as I search around, I can't even find it. But anyway, very cool moment he caught. Of course, Gary Sanchez's home run ball on Monday had a really great celebratory reaction. He was able to catch Bobby Witt's on Wednesday. It was not celebratory, shaking his head. Very funny. But it got me to thinking about ball hawks, and one in particular in Brewers history. Now, I want to explain ball hawking. It's a very complicated thing, I think. Curt, what is your relationship with ball hawkers, these guys who go to a lot of games with the really main purpose of catching home run balls? They position themselves, they know right where to go, they've done research, like they want those home run balls. And I am not casting aspersions on this guy. I'm just, in general, there are people who have done this. Give me your thoughts on that.
So I'm generally out on it. I do think, though, that like the Zach Hampel experience has ruined it for everyone. And the Zach Hampel experience is being cast upon everyone. And I'm not entirely sure that's fair. As far as Zach Hampel goes, it's 100% fair. But I feel like everyone else, that engages in a similar activity to him in terms of ball hawking is viewed in the same light. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like I'm right. And that, I don't know if that's exactly fair. So it's fine, but it's a little, I don't know. It's not my style of tea, if you know what I'm saying. It ain't for me.
I think that's right. I think we've probably gone over the edge on just looking down on that.
Jake Stark.
That's right. I was going to say Jake Stark, Starck.
From the research department.
Yes, finally did find his name. Jake Stark was Johnny on the spot in Kansas City. Very fun interview and moment and stuff. But there have been guys in the past who have kind of ruined it for other people. I would say this practice. It's a little akin, I think, to guys who wear jerseys. That there's like this big sort of viral internet thing that guys shouldn't be wearing jerseys after such and such an age. And it's like, lighten up. It's not that big a deal. I don't
Wait,
do it.
that's the thing?
Oh yeah, I think if you're like over 30, if you wear a jersey, there's some issues with that. I don't know.
I think if you're not wearing a jersey, you're a loser.
Didn't say that. I do not partake in the jerseys, but I understand. I don't care if people do. That's fun. It's cool. Whatever. Anyway, in 2009, the Brewers had a ball hawk named the Happy Youngster. If you are not familiar with that story, it's a guy who caught a lot of home run balls. Matt Viscursion, the one-time play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee Brewers on TV, started noticing that this guy was kind of out there for home run balls, had caught a few of them, and referred to him as the Happy Youngster. Look at that Happy Youngster going out there catching those fly balls. He then this guy came to would be American Family Field. I was caught up thinking 2009, is that County Stadium? Like, what is wrong with me? But yes, he then had a t-shirt that said Happy Youngster. So he was very easy to spot running around. I believe the name is Craig Yohanek. I had that written down and I've lost it. Yohanek is his last name. Might be Rob. Again, phenomenal podcasting by me. Great note-taking, great work by me. But what happened in 2009, in May of 2009, Chris Coughlin of the Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins, hit his first career home run at American Family Field, what was then Miller Park. Happy Youngster caught the ball. Happy Youngster wanted to trade in the ball for some bats, some tickets to an upcoming game at the Marlins home stadium. And Craig Coughlin took exception to this. He was really rankled by the whole process and said that the fan was driving too hard a bargain, and that became kind of this contentious thing for a few days. There's also some really unfortunate quotes from Mr. Yohanek, like one in particular that sticks out. Some people choose to sell drugs to kids. Some people choose to abuse drugs themselves. Some people choose to get all liquored up and drive their vehicles. Some people choose to be abusive to their wives and kids. Some people choose to rob, steal, and cheat. Some people take the lives of others. And some people choose to snag baseballs at the ballpark. Now, his point there is that what he's doing is harmless.
I don't know. I think he's cooking.
What he's doing is harmless. In a way, he's not wrong. In another way, that's a lot to say. This guy was 29 years old. He was a police officer. He explained to people that ball hawking is his hobby, and he actually can make like almost as much money doing this, exchanging these balls, like getting them and selling them, than he can in his regular job, which is crazy.
I have questions about that part in part.
Well,
like, what are you doing? Catching Shohei's 400th ball regularly? No.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, he did say he makes like $50,000 a year. That's what he said he made. Working in law enforcement, he felt like he didn't feel like he was asking for too much when he was. I know.
I need receipts.
Yeah, we might need receipts.
Before inflation, what balls were you selling for 50,000 combined?
So Coughlin said that he first of all, he did get the ball. He gave the fan a signed bat, took a photo with him, but then said afterwards, like, the guy drove a really hard bargain. He was looking for tickets to a Yankees Marlins game and for a Hanley Ramirez bat. Hanley Ramirez was kind of the highest profile player on the team at the time. Yohanek himself said that wasn't exactly what he asked for. He was looking for just kind of, I think it was Marlins Brewers tickets, or even just any old Brewers series. I think it was Brewers Marlins tickets. They were about to play later that season in Florida, and Yohanek said he was going to go there anyway. So he was looking for tickets, and it became a he said thing where, Chris Coughlin said he was driving a much harder bargain. The guy said, nah, it wasn't really like that. I kind of read it as maybe Chris Coughlin didn't realize there was going to be this level of negotiating when he hit his first big league home run. Chris Coughlin goes on to win Rookie of the Year. So he's not like an insignificant person here.
Chris Coughlin did what?
He went on to win Rookie of the Year. Go look that up. It's wild stuff. He actually won Rookie of the Year.
How?
I'm telling you. I mean, because there were no other rookies that year that were better than him. That's why.
Hold on. Keep going. I'm looking this up.
You don't believe me that Chris Coughlin won Coughlin? I don't even know how to say his name, but that he won Rookie of the Year?
It's Chris Coughlin first.
Coughlin.
I was just going to let you continue to say it wrong.
Okay. Yes.
I think Chris Coughlin's isn't he most known for like hurdling Yadier Molina or something? Didn't he do that?
I don't know. That's maybe. I know nothing about that.
Did not hit a lot of homers.
No, he did not. This was like only Nick Johannek, by the way.
Oh
Actually,
my gosh, he did win rookie. He hit 321 his rookie year. I need to put some respect on this man's name.
how dare you doubt me? I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game, I believe is the correct response there. But anyway, Nick Johannek.
Well, okay, no, update. He was worth 1.1 WAR that year. Jay Happ, who took second, was worth 3.9. And then it was Casey McGee took fifth that year. Good for him.
Good for Casey McGee. We love Casey McGee. Yeah, wild stuff. Anyway, it's Nick Johannek. It's not Robert Craig. I'm so sorry. But this 2009 situation, it kind of soured the happy youngster experience. He was sort of this like the rally rabbit. He was kind of this weird curiosity at the stadium, and then it went a little sour after that. But I don't know. I don't know what really happened. I remember I was there. I was covering that series, and I remember there being some contention because I was covering the Marlins as like a stringer at that point. So I knew that some of that stuff had gone on. I think I even talked to Coughlin about it. How do I say his name? What is wrong with me? Coughlin.
Dude, he was in the show for like 8 years.
I know. He was there a while. He was there a long time.
Chris Coughlin.
I know, Curt. You don't remember him? You do remember.
I remember Chris Coughlin.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't remember the happy youngster. For
No,
all I
no.
know,
I'm asking
I was the happy youngster.
No, you're definitely not the happy
Now
youngster.
I'm just jaded. I'm the jaded middle-aged dad.
Yes.
Am I middle-aged?
No, you're not middle-aged. You're extremely young. That's how it is.
I wouldn't say extremely young. I have a kid.
That's true. You're young. You're pretty young.
And I have gray hair too. You can't see it because I got a really, really low cut, but I have gray hair.
My entire beard is gray. I don't have any sympathy for you, Curt. We need to move on. Let's close this thing down. Let's close it down the way we close every episode of Microbrew down, and that is with your take of the week. Here it is, Curt Blanche.
Okay, so I got a lot going on in my brain right now. So Sunday morning, I was actually talking about how people care way too much about sends at third base, and in general, just sending everyone's a good idea. And then it happened again in Sunday's game, and I thought in the context of it, you know what? Maybe that wasn't a good send. I do not think the Brewers should have been sending Rhys Hoskins with 2 outs up 3-0. Not because it was a bad send, which it was. It was, but if it was 0-0 and the pitcher is at 15 pitches in the inning, whatever, make the guy make a good throw. But that really wasn't the case. The Brewers had Miles Michaelis at 42 pitches already. He was on the ropes. Probably not done for the day, but maybe done for the day if the inning continues.
He was getting there.
But certainly done if Oliver Perkins. I'm done. I'm retiring from the podcast. If Blake Perkins reached base as the next hitter, certainly the end of Miles Michaelis' day. Who knows what would have happened there? So in that spot, I think you're being aggressive by not being aggressive. And this concludes my take on third base send or don't send decisions. I thought it was not a good one on Sunday.
Here's my take on that. Don't send Rhys Hoskins. That's it.
So yeah, that plays into it too.
I mean, no offense, I love the guy.
If it's Christian Yelich getting thrown out, that's one thing.
Yeah, of course.
And you can say, okay, it was aggressive, whatever. He should have been. He saved more times than not. There's Rhys Hoskins. It's a little different. He's not fleet of foot.
He will be the first one to tell you, I'm sure, that this is not his game is not involved in scoring from second base. Really? So
did you see? So you know how Christian Yelich blew through a stop sign on Friday's game? I think it was.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a player give a self-imposed stop sign, like the guy's windmilling them and they go, are you blind? I'm going to stop my cleats right here.
Little Leaguer JR Radcliffe. JR Radcliffe in Little League tried this when he played for the Orioles in Kaukauna Little League back in the day. Because you see, I hit a ball into the right field corner. Great to even make contact. Blessed. And the guy in the right field had no idea what he was doing. And he dropped the ball a bunch of times.
No, he was picking dandelions.
I very clearly remember coming around third and seeing my coach just all enthusiastic, windmilling me around and being so upset, being so irritated with him that he was going to send me to my doom. So I move in what can only be described as glacially around third base, lumbering my way to home plate. And Curt, I slid. I was safe. I was safe. It wasn't inside the park home run or whatever. The catcher dropped the ball, which is why I was safe. But I slid face first, and it was more like a belly flop onto the plate. It was not a slide in any traditional sense. There wasn't actual motion. It was just falling down on the plate. And I remember this moment of triumph where I have rounded the bases in what should have been a very exciting play. And I get up, and all I can hear is the entire grandstand is laughing. Everyone is laughing hysterically. My coach did that. He should not have sent me around third base. I was embarrassed. It was not successful. I'm still mad at him. He might not even be with us anymore. I don't know, but he will never have my support.
You remember his name?
I do. I'm not gonna.
No, you will.
No, I'm not. No.
Yes, you will.
His name was Gene Schneider. And I'm a little upset. I tried. I locked eyes with him. I'm sure I said no. I'm sure I said no or something like that. But you're rounding third. You just got to do what the coach says, and so I did, and belly flopped my way into immortality. Curt.
Microtherapy. There you go.
Microbrew therapy. That's what we're doing here. We are airing it all out. Curt, anything else that you have here that you want to throw in before we let you go?
I don't think so. I think I left it all on the court today. I controlled what I could control.
It was big.
Left the results up to God.
Just taking it one day at a time. Living your best life. So, all right. So that's going to do it for this edition of Microbrew. Now, if you are listening to our audio version, you will hear my interview with Joey Ortiz. I really wanted to engage Joey Ortiz on the topic of 90s alternative rock because the band The Offspring, a noted entrant in the 90s canon, not particularly great songs, but like they went to his high school. And so I asked him if he was like into that music or like knew anything about Offspring. Absolutely not. So we did not talk about that on the interview. He had no idea who that band was. So we have definitely reached that point where even if they've attended the same high school, kids do not know these bands. So we started in a much more conventional place. But here's my interview with Joey Ortiz. Thank you for listening to this edition of Microbrew. We will talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.